Three skills needed to succeed in the global world. This is what I will be talking about in this video. Hello everybody, my name is Tasin Siddiqui and I am an expat living here in Germany. I work for one of the largest British telecommunications company here. If you want to know more about my professional experience, you might want to visit me on LinkedIn and follow me there. In this video, I will be talking about the three skills that you need in this global world to succeed, in the corporate or the professional world, right? So without wasting much time, let me start off. So the first skill is problem solving skills, okay? Problem solving skills. So what do I mean by problem solving skills, right? Do I mean, you should be good in math, you should be able to solve the problems in your textbook, or should you be able to solve the problems in your let's say GMAT exam or CFA exam, or some competitive exam? Do I mean that? Well, that is just a small part of problem solving skill, but what I really mean by problem solving skill is being street smart, right? Not just being able to solve the typical problem solve, not just being able to do the typical problem solving, analytical problem solving, but also being able to come up with solutions, right? To be able to think independently. You don't really need to have a lot of information. Well, information is always good, data driven decisions, right? That's the new thing, but you should be able to think on your feet on how you can solve certain problems, right? Solving real world problems. For example, let's just imagine you're an accountant or an engineer. You're sitting in a corporate building, a glass building, uh, and then the water starts dripping on your head. There's a leak on the ceiling, and everybody there has studied STEM and they are rocket scientists, and God knows how many degrees they've got and years of experience. But how would you solve this problem, right? You're one of those guys who knows this, how to solve the problem. It doesn't mean you need to have the expertise to go up on the ceiling and solve and shut it down. But what should be done is you should think about how you can solve this problem. Maybe you want to analyze where the leakage is from, right? Maybe you want to tell other people not to panic depending on the situation. And then you look up numbers on Google, the availability of various plumbers, who is close by, who is near to you, who is available at that moment to get the problem solved, right? And then you delegate the problem. You ask the person to come over, inspect, and you make sure they are doing their job properly, and you get the job done, payments closed, you're the hero, right? That is what I mean by problem solving, right? You need to show and demonstrate some leadership skills here, right? It had nothing to do with your accounting skills or your engineering skills. I don't know if they teach you that in even mechanical engineering or civil engineering, but it's about having that street smartness, as I said, being able to hustle, as they call it, the hustle culture, right? You should come with unique independent thinking skills. This is what they look for in the army, in the Marines in the US. When you go for the recruitment, they put you in different situations and they stress you and test your IQ, and see if you can come up with solutions on your own. Well, having information, as I said, is good, but even if you don't have information and you are encountered with novel situations, would you panic? Would you freak out? Would you get paralyzed because you do not know what to do? Or would you take steps and start walking in some direction and then re-maneuver and reposition yourself so as to finally find the solution and get the work done? So that's the first skill that is required, problem solving skill, to succeed in the world. The second skill that you need is networking skill, right? You should be able to talk to people, and not just I'm not talking about networking, that just going to networking events and giving your card and shaking hands with everybody. Hey, my name's John, and I'm an investment banker. No, 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 not that kind of networking. What I mean is identifying the people who will be able to help you, right? And the best networking is done when you first add value to somebody's life, and in turn they seek you, they come to you, and that's how you mutually benefit from each other, right? So you need to identify places and people who would be willing to help you, and then that's how you build your network. Okay, don't be afraid to approach people and meet new people and talk to everybody from all walks of life. It doesn't have to be just bankers if you're a banker. Your network doesn't just have to be doctors if you're a doctor, or you know engineers if you're an engineer, but you should talk to everybody. You never know who might just help you, right? So that is what networking is. I can tell you a story. This one time at one company, I wanted to meet the CEO, and well, his calendar is packed and he doesn't entertain anybody, he doesn't meet anybody. But then for some reason, the PN who used to go to his room with water and other things, I was in good terms with him, and then he told me, you know, there's this one slot and this one time where you might meet the CEO, and he would be happy to meet. Well, I don't want to get into the details, but that's how I ended up meeting the CEO. And at first he smiled and he said, you're a very smart person to have caught me in this sliver of time. And yeah, but this is how networking is done. This is what he told me. You need to find the right time, the right place, and the right instance, the right connection as to how you can connect with a person. So that is what networking is about. And then the third thing, it's a little controversial, but yes, the third thing to succeed in this global world is being able to speak English. Yes, I don't care if you're from India and you think Hindi is the best language, or you're from whatever France and you think French is the language that everybody should speak. That's all fine, but the global language in this world, at least at the point that I'm recording this video, is English. So you need to be able to communicate and express yourself in English, no matter where you're situated. I don't care if whatever corner you're located in. I sit in Germany. I learned German and I have to speak German at work, but the key positions, the key people at the top, you will always see that they are able to communicate themselves and express themselves in English very well, and there's a reason for that. You might want to think on that. So yeah, speak English with confidence. There's no shame. There's no shame. I speak German not so well, but I take steps proactively, make mistakes, and try to speak and learn, and that's how you get better, right? So that's how you'll get better with English. You don't have to speak like fancy English like Shakespeare or whatever, but you should be able to express your thought in simple sentences. So yeah, those are the three things that you need to succeed in the global world: problem solving skills, networking with people, and being able to express yourself in English. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your time. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, and have a nice day. Bye bye.